From the News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine. Nick Barris coming to you on, it's March 1st. It's Super Tuesday. It's Election Day. And I'm coming to you from another set, by the way. We're over at the set where Steve and Amy just left. Steve left the seat warm for me. We're having some work done in the Plus studios, so we're going to be over here, at least temporarily. Just thought I'd let you know that, just so you know, well, why doesn't that look the same? And I know many of you are viewers that get used to the routine of it all. So kind of shaking things up. We have a couple technical bugs. We apologize, but I think it'll be smooth. The team's got it rolling here. And as I said this morning, we're going to be talking about politics. I want to open up the phone lines for you and jump in. I want to know if you're voting. If you're not, give me a call. But if you're not voting, you're welcome to call in and tell me why you're not, but I don't want to hear you complain, because if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. Sorry, that's my rule. I don't know if you want to abide by it, but that's my rule. We're going to look at how the role Tennessee plays today in Super Tuesday and some of the things happening politically. And it's not going to be just you and me. It's going to be Carrie Russell with us, joining us from over at Vanderbilt University. Good morning to you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, thanks for rolling with us in the studio right now in this temporary setting, but she's a political science professor from over. Have you voted yet?
I always save my vote for the day of, so that I can have my sticker and feel part of the excitement. I know that it's more efficient sometimes to do it early voting, but I want to stand in line and watch my fellow countrymen cast their ballots.
I'm going to do the same thing. Yeah, I was wondering, though, today about some of the people that voted early, I mean really early, for Bush. You know, that's one reason I was thinking, you know, people may want to wait because you never know how things are going to change, but
absolutely. In this election cycle, I mean,
never know. What did you say when we sat down and I was asking you about this? This is, for you, it's exciting, but it's just unprecedented, some of the things I'm seeing right now.
It absolutely is. I mean, every election season, every 4 years is like Christmas for political scientists. We just, you know, stand around and jawbone in the break room and get into heated debates. And the kids are all excited at Vanderbilt and all of our area universities. But yeah, this particular election cycle has proven to be beyond the expectations of your seasoned political forecasters.
It's not typical, is what it is. Every 4 years, you're right, is, especially for people into political science like you, an exciting time. But just everything from Donald Trump to Bernie Sanders to some of the campaign strategies we've seen. And it's caught people's attention because I think the early voting's well over almost 400,000 in Tennessee, right?
Wow, yeah.
And we think today, I know there's going to be some sketchy weather coming up later, but the turnout could be just very, very big, right? Is that what we're expecting?
That's true. But in the political science literature, you'll learn that when the weather's bad, voter turnout is typically profoundly affected.
It goes down.
It goes down.
So how bad's the weather going to be, Leland?
A couple of stronger thunderstorms.
A couple stronger thunderstorms. It's cool working in here because he's right next to us there. So thunderstorms, maybe it won't be too bad on that front. All right, real quick, and we're going to get to the phone lines. We'll open up the lines, 737+ if you want to jump in. Want to know if you voted, who you're voting for, and what your take is. The role of Tennessee in this, there are a good amount of delegates here. So that's one reason. I think all the candidates remaining in the race, except for Bernie Sanders, I think, in the past several days have visited the state, correct?
That's right. Everybody but Bernie. Even though Bernie has said that, you know, Tennessee was a priority on his campaign trail. But that's right. Over the weekend, we had an onslaught of all of these politicos coming to drum up support in Tennessee.
Now, how important? I mean, Tennessee's role in all this. What, 70 delegates or something along those lines? It's one of the larger vote, delegate states in this Super Tuesday, right?
It is. That's right. For the Democratic side, there will be 44 delegates awarded, and then on the Republican side, there are 58.
58.
And
okay, that's the third most of the Super Tuesday states.
Yeah,
so that's why
it's a
people
big chunk.
came.
I mean, Texas is it's the big prize.
Right.
But Tennessee has an important role to play. Traditionally, whichever candidate sweeps Super Tuesday has gone on to get their party's nomination. And it was just in 2008 and 2012 when, for the Republican side, when it wasn't completely sewn up, after Super Tuesday, both McCain and Romney had a bit more of a slog ahead of them, but they went on to get their party's nomination. So traditionally, Super Tuesday does play a big role in determining who's going to be the nominees.
That's what they're saying this time around as well. Now, in Tennessee, anyway, I guess the polls are showing, like in a lot of states, it's Trump and Clinton.
Yep.
Fairly. Now, what's interesting is, some very popular politicians in this state, our governor, Senator Lamar Alexander, have both come out for Marco Rubio, which I think they've said, that's more, I guess right now, he's trying to position himself as an establishment.
That's right.
The Republican establishment candidate. I don't know if that's going to make a difference. What do you think? Those endorsements.
Endorsements do play a big role, particularly, in Tennessee, where we do have a lot of deference for Lamar Alexander. We do have a lot of deference for Bob Corker. We love our governor. But at the same time, when candidates are riding this populist wave, which is essentially what Trump is doing, it completely unsettles the establishment. I mean, what I was hearing on the news last night was that if Trump ends up getting this nomination, that it wouldn't be completely unheard of for the traditional Republicans to run Rubio or someone else as a third-party candidate.
Now, wouldn't that, and I've heard that, and that's what they've been talking about this morning, and or on the other side of the coin, if it comes to the convention and for whatever reason they have a brokered convention, and even though Trump has won it going in, they take it away from him, maybe he gets mad and runs. But if that happens, that's still going to split, I would think, to some degree the Republican vote and doom them.
Absolutely.
Doom the Republican Party if they split. If they bring their own Republican, they're still going to split, and it will be the Democrat getting that. And I'm just, do you think, of all the Republican candidates, are there any that have some appeal to the Democrats? And I'm thinking if there is, it would be Trump. I'm just wondering, are there any Democrats that might look twice at Donald Trump?
I mean, maybe the people that are disaffected if Hillary, maybe the big Bernie supporters.
Yeah.
Bernie and Trump are unusually alike in a lot of ways.
Is that right? How so? What do you think?
Well, they're both white older gentlemen from the Northeast. They are both appealing to the extremes of the parties. This election is doing a lot of moving and shaking in terms of policy positions. It's moving all of the Republican candidates to the right, and it's moving Hillary Clinton to the left. Just the presence of Trump and Bernie Sanders. It's forcing them to appeal to that great block of populist voters on either side of the political spectrum.
I gotcha. I agree. Yeah.
So, that might be a possibility for the disaffected Bernie folks if Bernie doesn't end up getting the nomination. I think...
And isn't Hillary pretty much, I don't know if a Republican will sweep everything. Texas is going to be very interesting. We'll see how Cruz does there. But, a lot of people right now are predicting that Hillary's going to sweep everything in Super Tuesday. And if it does, it's pretty much over for Bernie, isn't it?
It is pretty much over for Bernie.
Okay, that'll be it. And so then she can just go the rest of her way while she watches the Republicans literally beat themselves up. And that's the other part of it that's amazing to me. I've never seen a candidate ever, or a race like we've seen, where, and yeah, there's always been dirty politics and dirty campaigning, but the stuff about slamming someone because they've got small hands, or calling him little Marco Rubio, and the name calling, and to me, whether it's Democrat or Republican, and it's aside from whether you support Trump because of his populist, or you support Rubio because of he's more establishment, but the name calling and stuff like that is unbecoming to me of anyone wanting to become president, and it's gotten ugly. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but when I see someone getting down and stiff talking issues about the size of someone's hands,
yeah, it's bad.
I'm just rolling my eyes and going, well, it's like we're watching an election in elementary school.
It's true, but
it's working. I guess some people. It does crack me up. When sometimes early on, and Trump was the one always doing this initially, and it's worked for him, so I think then all of a sudden Cruz and Rubio are thinking, well, I'm going to get down and start making name calling as well. But early on when Trump, would go after Bush or Rubio and call them names, I'd never seen anything like that.
Well, Professor John Geer would tell you, negative politics works. The power of going negative is extremely proven.
But it's one thing if you're going negative because you're pointing out something about their voting record or something. But if you're making fun of their hairstyle, their spray tan, their small hands, if you're making fun of the way they talk, different. I mean, that's a
It is
different kind of negative campaign. For me, I find that while it's amusing to see and it's entertaining, it truly is, I don't look at that as someone that I like the idea of being a president, because I wonder are they going to pull that stuff when they're in Europe in diplomacy?
Right, and if you look at Trump's speeches, if you look at the words he uses, anyone that conducts analysis of the truthiness of what he says, will tell you that 75% of everything that comes out of his mouth is
not entirely accurate.
Not entirely accurate.
But that's true on a lot of the candidates, it seems like.
Yeah.
But none of it seems to matter, because at the same time, he's hitting the nerve. And I understand this, because I feel it too sometimes, of the frustration with the establishment.
Right.
And here's a guy who will say whatever he says, but really when you get down to the nuts and bolts, I really want to know more. I mean, about what his policies are, and can he make them work? And I'm sorry, if you really believe he's going to build a wall, you're living in a dream world if you think Mexico is going to pay for it. It's just not going to happen. Now, I'm throwing this out there to stimulate conversation. If you disagree with me, fine, call in, give me a holler on this. I don't know if we have any perfect candidates, but we certainly have some entertaining ones. The number is 737-7587. If you want to join in the conversation, we're going to take a break. Okay. When we come back, we've got phone calls, we have some lines open. Who you're voting for, why, do you agree, disagree with me, or a question for the professor? We'll be back with more as we talk Super Tuesday right after this.